Hi guys, I'm Taylor, and this is my first post of 2014. I've had a little bit of a case of writer's block, but I'm back, and this is also my first post as head of poetry, so I'm super stoked on that, and I will be a lot more frequent, I promise. Initially I was just going to recite a spoken word piece for you guys, but I decided to sort of take this opportunity to talk a little bit about writer's block, and one of the things that I like to do about it, and that is to write a letter to someone. And I don't like to choose my dad or an ex-boyfriend or anything, someone that I would actually express my feelings to. I like to choose someone that I would never actually have this conversation with, and it ends up being most of the time a little bit like cut my wrists and block my eyes, but you can sort of wade through the shit. Sometimes you just gotta let yourself write that bad thing, like bad poem, bad short story, whatever, and then go back through and salvage what you can, because hopefully you'll have at least one or two stanzas, or at least some new ideas from it. So don't be afraid to write a horrible first draft. The important part is that you have a first draft. And I'm throwing stuff everywhere. But for example, this is a sheet that I'll be reading from for you guys, and even as I was sort of transcribing this from several places, I went through and I changed things as I went back and read it every time. So poetry is kind of one of those things that's constantly going to be evolving. And in case you're... I'm not wearing pants, in case you were wondering. That's what's happening. So, I'm sorry. So, this poem... I'm a horrible human being. Anyway, this poem was written as a letter to the mother of my boyfriend, my mom's boyfriend's mother. And it's called Laura is my middle name, but it is not the ending. He was just a boy when he found his father's body floating in the river, and I know he waited until the morning to tell you, but Mrs. McComas, giving your husband one last night under the West Virginia stars was the nicest thing your son ever did for anybody. And I know you loved him, but Mrs. McComas, you weren't there. You weren't there to see him shred the last few years of shit I could call my childhood, to see him make my mom into a monster. She hung over the arm of the sofa in just a pair of lace panties. I walked in just in time to hear her say, "Go kill my mom." Like she was coaxing my brother, he was 6, into eating his vegetables. Like she didn't just tell her son to go kill his grandma. I sent her to sleep, but her room was mostly just beer cans. My grandpa died in there before the beer cans. I never got to say goodbye, but I stopped feeling bad the day he sang me You Are My Sunshine one last time with a bright living room and a coffee cup. My grandma's last words to me were, "You're a big girl now." She wanted me to take care of myself, but I was 13, I couldn't, and I wasn't there. But Mrs. McComas, I heard my mom hung over the arm of the sofa even after her brother stopped paying for power, for water, subsisted for a while on my grandma's leftover prescriptions. I don't know where she went after that, but Mrs. McComas, I'm sure everyone thinks she killed her mom. And someone bought that house, and then your son died just like his father, and I'm sorry, but Mrs. McComas, that was the last nice thing your son ever did for anybody. And then that someone who bought my grandmother's house accidentally burnt it down, and a new one sits on top of it, and it's like nothing ever happened there. And nothing ever happened there, did it, Mrs. McComas? So yeah. That is what I do to cure writer's block, and this isn't like super perfect. I was even changing a couple words as I read it, but just gotta do it is kind of the moral of the story, and I am looking forward to being on here more frequently. And also, I have a Tumblr. If you guys have any questions for me, it's littlevirtue.tumblr.com, and I will include a link for that somewhere amongst this stuff. So, yeah.